Okay, so welcome to yet another session of Bhagavad Gita. As it is, we are learning the important verses of Bhagavad Gita with its meaning and application. Anmol, can you please start the prayers?
Sure, Mataji. Om Jnanaatimirandasya Jnanandanashalakaya Chakshururmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamine Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Vacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pasyatyatistarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Very nice. So can we have volunteers to chant some of the previous verses? You can take turns.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes, this Astra.
Can I do Janma Karma Chame Devyam?
Sure.
Okay. Janma Karma Chame Devyam Evam Yo Viti Tatvata Taktvate Punar Janma Yeti Mamiti Sarjana. Thank you.
Very nice. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Mataji, this is Krishna Chaitanya. Can I do Vidya Vinaya Sampanne?
Yes.
Vidya Vinaya Sampanne, Brahmane Kavihastini, Sunichaya Swakha, Kecha, Pandita Samadarshina.
Very good. Very good. Who's next?
Tell what sloka you want to tell, Vrinda. Sayevayam.
Sayevayam. Sayevayam Maya Tedya, Roga Progda Puradanaha, Bhakta Sevi Sada Slogera,
Sachiti.
Sahasheti, Rahasya Vedanadavam.
Very nice. Thank you, Vrinda. Excellent.
Abhishan. I want to tell about Satisan.
Ajo
Abhishan Navayatma, Utanami Shalupisa, Pakidisha,
Very good. Good job. Thank you. Thank you, Vrinda. Anmol?
Mataji, can I do 5.29?
Yes. Oh, you may going to learn that, but it's okay. You can do it.
Okay. Bhaktaram Yajnatapasam Sarvaloka Maheswaram Surdam Sarva Bhutanam Yanatva Mantanit Vrijati.
Good. Very nice. Thank you. Nimai, would you like to try a verse? Okay. Who else do we have? Okay. So that's good. So let's move on to our next. So today we're going to learn 434. Please repeat after me. Bhoktaram yajna tapasam.
Bhaktaram yajna tapasam.
Sarvaloka maheshwaram.
Sarvaloka maheshwaram.
Suhridam sarvabhutanam.
Suhridam sarvabhutanam.
Nyatva mam shanti mrichyati.
Nyatva mam shanti mrichyati.
Mataji, I think this is 529, yes? Sorry to interrupt, Mataji.
Yes, right. It's 529. That was a yes, it's 529. I'm so sorry. Thanks for that. It's 529. Sorry for that. Okay. So, okay. Now let's do it again together. Bhoktaram yajna tapasam.
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 सर्वलोकमहेश्वरम्
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 सुहृदं सर्वभूतानां
सुहृदं सर्वभूतानां
सुहृदं सर्वभूतानां
सुहृदं सर्वभूतानां
सुहृदं सर्वभूतानां
सुहृदं सर्वभूतानां
ज्ञात्वा मां शान्तिमृच्छति
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 Two lines together. भोक्तारां यज्ञतपसां सर्वलोकमहेश्वरम् सुहृदं सर्वभूतानां ज्ञात्वा मां शान्तिमृच्छति
सुहृदं सर्वभूतानां ज्ञात्वा मां शान्तिमृच्छति
Okay, all together. भोक्तारां यज्ञतपसां सर्वलोकमहेश्वरम् सुहृदं सर्वभूतानां ज्ञात्वा मां शान्तिमृच्छति
सर्वलोकमहेश्वरं सुहृदं सर्वभूतानां मां शान्तिमृच्छति.
Very nice. Okay, so let's look at some keywords. What is yajna?
Sacrifice, Mataji.
Very good. Tapas?
Austerity.
Austerity is very nice. Loka?
Planet.
Planet.
Yeah, okay. Maheshwara.
Supreme Lord.
Yeah. So Ishvara means controller, Maheshwara means the supreme controller, the supreme Lord. Actually, Suhridam means benefactor, or it can also mean a well-wisher. Okay, benefactor, well-wisher, a good friend, one who's close to the heart. Suhridam, one who always wishes good. So Suhridam means a benefactor. Bhuta, what is Bhuta? Bhutana.
The living entities.
Yeah, all the living entities. Shanti, you might have. What is Shanti?
Peace or relief.
Yeah, peace. Very nice. Okay, so let's do the translation. A person in full consciousness of me.
A person in full consciousness.
Full consciousness of me.
Knowing me to be the ultimate beneficiary.
Knowing me to be the ultimate beneficiary.
Of all sacrifices and austerities.
Of all sacrifices and austerities.
The Supreme Lord of all planets and demigods.
The Supreme Lord of all planets and demigods.
And the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities.
And the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities.
Attains peace from the pangs of material miseries.
Attains peace from the pangs of material miseries.
Yeah. So this verse is trying to tell us a person who really understands who is Krishna, knowing him to actually be the enjoyer of all the sacrifices that is done, all the austerities that is performed, knowing him to be the Supreme Lord of all the planets in existence, the Supreme Lord of all the demigods who are present on all these planets, the well-wisher and the benefactor of all living entities. Such a person who really understands who Krishna is in this sense really attains peace from all the material miseries of this world. So that is what this verse is saying. So basically, if you understand who Krishna is, if you understand that he's actually the enjoyer, he's the controller, he's the one who knows all the living entities, if you have this understanding, then you will attain peace. That's what this verse is saying in simple words. Okay, but we're going to churn this verse and see some interesting realizations from this verse. So in our previous session, we saw about how the pleasures and distress in this world that is attained through sense perception is actually temporary. Okay? So there is sometimes you're happy, sometimes you're sad, sometimes you feel good, sometimes you feel bad. So like that, the pleasures and distress resulting from sense perception in this world is something that is temporary, that is not permanent. So therefore, a wise man doesn't get trapped into sense perceptions. That is what we saw in our previous session, and we saw the story of the touchstone of Sanatana Goswami, and we saw that the best thing one can do is really chant Hare Krishna and just be happy. So anything that is transcendental will make you happy, but anything that is involving sense perception, anything that is involving sense pleasures, it is very flickering. The happiness attained from that is very flickering. So therefore, a person who's wise, who has some sense, wouldn't keep indulging in it over and over. Rather, he'll try to look for something higher. So that is what we saw in our previous session. Today, we are going to see the peace formula. What is the peace formula? Yes, material world is full of miseries. No happiness is permanent in this world. So what is the peace formula in this world? That is being told in this verse. So Krishna tells that when we remember him to be the receiver of all sacrifices, the controller of all, the friend of all living beings, and the supreme knower of each and every living entity, then one has this understanding, one's mind will naturally be in peace. Okay, so what are the things that are being told? Can you read the 4 things here? Receiver of all sacrifices, enjoyer of all sacrifices, or receiver of all sacrifices. He is the supreme controller of all. He is the friend of all living beings, and ultimately, because of these 3, he also knows every being, because he is omniscient and omnipresent. So therefore, Krishna is also the supreme knower as a result of these 3 things that is mentioned in this verse. Now let's see each and every part of this verse. So what is Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasam? That means Krishna is the enjoyer of all sacrifices. So anyone can tell me the story of Nriga? What happened to Nriga? Anyone knows? This person who was cursed to be a lizard.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
King Nriga once was a king in Vanasvara. He used to give cows and charities to brahmanas, and one day he gave a brahmana cow, and then he gave that brahmana's cow to another brahmana by accident, and they two started quarreling, and he said he would give each of them 100,000 cows, but they cursed him. But then they kept quarreling, so and then he had to become a lizard until Lord Krishna delivered him.
That's very nice. So that's a very interesting story that is there in the Bhagavatam in the 10th canto. There was a great king in the Ikshvaku dynasty. His name was Nriga, and he was known for his heavy donations that he would make. Okay, so he was a very charitable person. Lots of charity he would do, and the greatest charity was he would donate so many cows to the brahmanas. That is one of the greatest welfare activities someone can do. And it so happened that he donated plenty of cows to a Brahmin, and one cow from that herd actually wandered into another herd. And there was a huge confusion, just like how you said, there was a fight, and he was cursed, and he became a lizard. He took the body of a lizard, and he was spending his time in a well for several years till Krishna came. And finally, Krishna had to release him. So we see that when we perform any kind of sacrifice, any kind of yajna, or any kind of charity, if it is not done in the service of Krishna, if Krishna is not involved in it, it can actually get a little binding. Okay, a small mistake we may have to pay heavily. But whereas even a little bit that is done in the service of Krishna is always in our permanent bank account. Okay? Permanent bank account of good activities in the service of Krishna. Just pious credits is not enough. It has to be transcendental. It has to always be in the service of Krishna. So when anything is done in the service of Krishna, it bears a permanent result, not like any kind of karma kanda activity which only leads pious results, and also it has other problems as well. You'll have to do it perfectly. Even a little imperfection, like Nriga, he had to suffer. Okay, so we understand from this pastime that actually the supreme enjoyer is only Krishna. Even when we enjoyer of any sacrifice is actually Krishna. Even if we try to enjoy some sacrifice, a little bit error, it's gone. But whereas if sacrifices are done for the service of Krishna, then it bears a permanent result. Okay. The next part of the verse is supreme controller of all planets and demigods. So we know the story of Krishna lifting Govardhan hill. Why did he have to lift Govardhan hill? Anyone?
Because of Indra's pride.
Yeah, because of Indra. Indra troubled them because of Indra's pride. Yes, very well said. So because of Indra, he was sending such heavy rains in Vrindavan. Krishna, he being the supreme controller of even Indra, was able to protect all the citizens of Raja. Okay, Indra, Chandra, Varuna, Brahma, Shiva, everybody is under the Maheshwara. He's the supreme controller of all these Ishwaras. Ishwara means controller. Little controllers. There are so many controllers of this world. You are a controller of your, maybe your class representative, a class leader. So you are the controller of a set of people. Like that, everyone is trying to be a controller in some way or the other. But Krishna, he is the supreme controller of all controllers, all the demigods and all the planets. Okay? So therefore, when Indra caused trouble, it was only Krishna who could actually give them protection. Then, Suhridam Sarvabhutana. So we saw the meaning of Suhrid, right? A very nice well-wisher. That is the meaning of Suhrid. So just like, think of this example. You're walking on the road and there's a strange person who's following you. Okay, he's following you for a very long time and you're very uncomfortable about it. You're extremely uncomfortable. You don't know what to do. You feel like running and you begin to run, but still this person keeps following you. There'll be a lot of fear in your heart. You wouldn't know what to do. Your heart will be pumping hard and you'll be thinking, what should I do? Where should I go and take shelter? But then, suddenly, if you're lucky, if you see the police car, coming by, how would you feel? Can anyone tell me?
You report to the police that he's been
Failed.
Yes. You'll feel relief.
She's saying scared.
Oh, you're going to be scared if you see the police guy coming? Or you're going to feel relieved that, oh, the police is here and he'll take care of this weird person who's chasing me. How would you feel?
She's scared of police, Mataji. That's why she said scared.
Oh, okay.
Relieved, happy.
Yeah, you'll feel relieved, you'll feel happy. Correct. So basically when the police person comes, you'll think, wow, okay, this guy is going to get caught. I don't have to worry about him chasing me. So you'll feel a sense of relief. And there will be some peace in your heart. Because you know that this policeman is going to protect you. Right? So similarly, when the supreme controller, when the supreme protector of everyone is there, automatically when you start taking shelter of the supreme protector, Krishna, who knows everyone, who understands that you're in trouble, when this supreme protector is there, when we take shelter of that supreme protector, then we will have real peace. Just think about the case of Draupadi. When Draupadi was disrobed, who came to her rescue? It was the supreme well-wisher. It was Krishna who actually came to her rescue. And how did Draupadi feel when Krishna came to her rescue? She really felt what really true peace is. Till then she was so worried and she was so agitated. Right? Like that, when you take shelter of Krishna, when you understand that he is my only protector, that is the point. Then you will have true peace. Okay? So, Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasam, you understand him to be the enjoyer of all sacrifices. If you try to do anything without Krishna in the center, it is going to give us problems. So when we know that Krishna is the enjoyer of all sacrifices, we find peace. Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. The second point we saw is Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. When we understand that Krishna is going to control everyone else, okay? Even if someone else is giving us a problem, it is Krishna who is the supreme controller. So if we are surrendered to Krishna, Krishna will protect me. Then there is peace. And the third thing we saw is that he is the well-wisher of everyone. He doesn't see differences. Sometimes, we have close friends. Sometimes we have people we don't like. There could be so many kinds of people we interact with. Not everyone will be our well-wisher. But Krishna, who's omniscient, who knows everyone, who resides in the heart of everyone as Paramatma, he is definitely Suhrit. He is actually the supreme well-wisher of each and every living entity. Okay, so when we see him, we will have peace. Okay, so that's what this verse is saying. Basically, Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasam, Sarvaloka Maheshwaram, Yatva Mam Shantim Richati. So one who understands this, Krishna is everything, such a person actually attains peace. Now look at the people in the world who are trying to attain peace. Huh? You see in this picture, the first guy here, what is he doing? He's enjoying his weekend. So he's basically indulging in sense enjoyment. Okay? He's thinking, I've had a hard week, Monday to Friday, I've worked so hard. So Saturday, Sunday, I'll go to the beach, I'll grab a glass of alcohol, I'll sit there and I will attain peace. Do you think this peace is permanent for him? Yes, no?
No, Mataji.
No, it's not permanent. You just saw that in the previous verse. The happiness resulting from sense enjoyment is not permanent. That's what we learned. So it's not permanent. Look at the second person. He's like a person who's desiring mukti, okay? He wants to get rid of everything material in this world and he wants bliss. He just wants release from this material world. But interestingly, even that is not permanent, okay? Because the people who are attaining mukti, for them, they don't have any association. So there is every chance that they will fall down. And the last person here, he's doing some kind of yogic practice. He's a yogi. Okay? He's trying to find peace through the process of yoga. He's doing dhyana, he's sitting peace, shanti, shanti. He's doing all that. But our senses, they are so hard to curb. Okay? Even his peace, it has so many distractions, so many distractions. It is very difficult even for this person to attain peace. But then, when one cultivates pure devotion, what happens? You give up on all your designations. I am great. I am the controller. I am this. I am that. When you have that in your mind, when these things are running in your mind, actually that's when the problems are. But when you give up these designations and surrender and acknowledge Krishna's supremacy, at that time, Krishna will help us get rid of all our fears and he will give us what is known as real peace. Okay? So therefore we have Prabhupada saying here, the greatest peace formula is simply this. Lord Krishna is the beneficiary in all human activities. Men should offer everything to the transcendental service of the Lord because he is the proprietor of all planets and the demigods thereon. This is the purport in the verse that we are seeing today, 529. Okay, let's see a story of a person who actually came to this path of bhakti, who was involved in a lot of sense enjoyment previously, was not able to find peace, and who came to this process of bhakti and he understood what is the highest goal and what the real peace formula is all about. Okay, so this personality's name is Yamunacharya. Now this Yamunacharya, he was actually a spiritual master of Sripad Ramanujacharya. You might have all heard this name, Ramanujacharya. He is one of the acharyas, important acharyas in the different sampradayas. He is the acharya of the Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya. Now anyway, his spiritual master was Yamunacharya. Now we are going to see the story of Yamunacharya, what happened to him. So Yamuna, when he was a young boy, he was actually originally born into a Brahmin family and a very, very pious background. But it so happened that during one incident, he went to talk to one of the kings of that area, and by argument, he won half the kingdom of the Pandya Desh. So he became a king at a very young age. Now, as he was the king of that area, this young Yamunacharya, as he became the king of that area, he started enjoying his kingdom so much so that he was so involved in sense enjoyment that he forgot the kind of family lineage that he was coming from. All that he had learnt in childhood, he just gave up all that and he started focusing on the kingdom, and especially he was into a lot of sense enjoyment. So he was basically enjoying his power, wealth, fame, all that was his focus during his life as a king. So time went by. Yamunacharya became almost 30-35 years old. At that time, Yamunacharya's grandfather was about to die. Okay? Now Yamunacharya didn't even remember anything about his grandfather, but his grandfather remembered him. His grandfather knew that I have a grandson who's actually the king, and he's just not worried about anything other than his enjoyment. But I want to give him the best. Somehow or the other, I want to give him this gift of bhakti. I wish he becomes a devotee. So thinking like that, that grandfather on his deathbed, he called one of his disciples by the name Rama Mishra, and he told Rama Mishra, I want one help from you. Can you go to Yamunacharya, who's now the king of this area, and somehow or the other convince him to become a devotee? Can you please do this help for me? So Rama Mishra said, yes, Gurudev, I will surely do it. And after that, Yamunacharya's grandfather passed away. So Rama Mishra took this upon him, and he tried actually to go to the court of Yamuna so that he could convince him to somehow renounce his kingdom and take the path of his grandfather. Yeah, because his grandfather had done so much works, bhakti works. So he wanted his grandson to take up the same path as the grandfather. So anyway, Rama Mishra went to the kingdom, and he was not allowed inside the palace because he was just an ordinary man. He was just not allowed directly to go and meet the king, and the king wouldn't meet any ordinary person like that. So Rama Mishra had to find a way to somehow get into the palace. So you know what he did? He went and he started influencing the cook of the palace. Okay. What did he do? He had a plan. He got a variety of spinach. Okay, you see that variety, it's here. It's not exactly spinach, it's a variety of greens, okay, that is grown in that area. He got that variety of greens and he gave it to the cook, and he said, I am a supplier. I go to the I cultivate these crops and I'm here to sell them for a price. These greens are very, very good. It's very good for the king, especially because it promotes the mode of goodness. I see that the king is not very peaceful. He has a lot of problems. He's always agitated. So if you feed the king this particular variety of greens, it will promote the mode of goodness in him, and he will feel very, very nice. He will feel comfortable. He will feel very nice. The pitta in the body, that is, that causes this irritation, that will reduce. So you cook this and give him, your king will be a very happy man. So he told the cook like that, and the cook was very happy to receive a new ingredient, and he tried cooking it, and he would offer it to the king regularly. Now Yamunacharya, he started eating this particular preparation, and he loved it. He just loved the preparation. It was so tasty, and also it was working on him. He would feel very peaceful. He would feel very peaceful when he would eat that, and he would see that he was more and more in control of his senses, and the mode of goodness was increasing in him, and he developed so much love for this particular dish. So this went on. It went on and on and on for weeks and months together. Then one fine day, Rama Mishra, he stopped going. He just stopped going, and he did not supply this variety of greens. Now in that area, he was the only one who was supplying this variety. Okay. Now that he stopped, the cook didn't get these greens to cook for the king. Now Yamunacharya was completely, devoid, or rather he didn't get a chance to eat this wonderful preparation. So he was very sad. He kept asking the cook, why are you not making it these days? What happened? What happened? Because he got so attached to that greens. He kept asking. Then the cook said, it's not my fault. There is a supplier who would come. That person is not turned up these days. I don't know what's happening to him. Then Yamuna told him, okay, I'm ready to pay whatever is needed for him to come here. I want him right here, and I want my supply of greens. So that is when Rama Mishra was allowed to enter the assembly. So when he entered the assembly, he went and saw Yamuna, and he told Yamuna, my dear Yamuna, you're asking for greens. You're a great king. You're asking for these greens. But you know what? I have a secret. I have a secret for you. I have the highest treasure that you would need. I know you're a king and you have a lot of enemies and you might have to go for many wars. So it is very important for you to gather treasure, and I know you're very attached to all the wealth. So I have a great treasure which your grandfather has left for you. You might have forgotten your grandfather, but he, before dying, he gave all the treasure and he asked me to hand it over to you. So are you interested in getting your treasure? Yamuna was very happy. Yes, I want that treasure. I want everything for myself. Yes, I'm ready to take it. Then Rama Mishra said, okay, forget about the greens. First, let's go acquire your treasure. Then Rama Mishra said, you know how the treasure is protected? That treasure is between two rivers. It is in the middle of 7 fortifications, and there is a great serpent who's actually guarding this treasure. So we have to cross the 7 layers, we have to cross the 2 rivers, and we have to go somehow, distract the snake and then catch hold of this treasure that is being carefully guarded. It is waiting for you. Yamuna was very happy. He was very happy. Yes, I'm going to get something great. So with all his attachment, he started running with Rama Mishra. He started walking. So while they were walking, see, now you should understand that by now, Yamunacharya had a little bit of mode of goodness because of all that good ingredients that was going into his mouth. And also, still his attachments were there. Yes, he was also attached to many things. But when he was walking with Rama Mishra made it a point to recite and teach him the entire Bhagavat Gita. Imagine, we are just doing one verse of Bhagavad Gita, right? But Rama Mishra, he managed to teach him the entire Bhagavad Gita in the few days that they were walking towards this place where the treasure was. Okay, so Yamunacharya, he started hearing the entire Bhagavad Gita, and his mind was getting further cleansed, and the mode of goodness started improving, and in fact he was even contacting the mode of pure goodness because it was all Krishna Katha. So Yamunacharya's mind was more and more cleansed. Then finally he reached the place. Before he reached the place itself, Yamuna had this very strong attachment to the Bhagavad Gita, and he almost surrendered to Rama Mishra, and he told Rama Mishra, I was seeking after wealth, material wealth, but it appears that you're giving me the highest treasure. This is enough for me. I just want to renounce everything, and I want you as my guru, and I just want to take these teachings and make this my life's mission. But then Rama Mishra said, wait, you're yet to see the treasure. Then you make a decision. So Yamuna said, yes, that is true. That's the reason we have come so far. So let's go further. Then they went in and they crossed the two rivers. These two rivers are Kaveri and Kollam. They are actually there in south of India. They crossed those rivers and they went through 7 coverings. The 7 coverings of the Srirangam temple, and there inside Yamuna, he saw the most beautiful form of Ranganath that was guarded by Adisesh, the great serpent. Okay? So now when Yamuna, he saw this most exquisite, beautiful form of Lord Ranganath, he almost fainted. That transformed his heart, and he said, enough of all this. Now I know the real peace formula. I know what is going to give me ultimate happiness. I know what is actually going to keep me happy all the time. It is not this material wealth. I understand that Krishna is the ultimate. I've heard the Bhagavat Gita. I know Bhoktaram Yajnatapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. I understand this, and hence I know this is the path for me, and this will actually give me ultimate peace. So like this, he chose the path of bhakti, which is the permanent formula for peace. This is the story of, he was awakened, you see here, awakening of Sri Yamunacharya. So like this, Yamunacharya was awakened after he heard the Bhagavad Gita and after he saw the beautiful form of Lord Ranganath in Sri Rangam. So, Krishna always gives protection to his devotees. So therefore, we saw the story of Yamunacharya of how he came to the path of bhakti and he became peaceful. But we must understand that only a devotee has this very rare privilege of Krishna always giving them protection. Just like how the Pandavas were. You know, the Pandavas, they were so surrendered. Imagine the kind of tribulations that the Pandavas went through. Bhima was poisoned. You know, you all know those stories, right? From Mahabharata. How Bhima was poisoned. How Arjuna, he was always under some problem or the other, under some attack. But Krishna would always give him protection. You know the story of Draupadi, how Draupadi was protected by Krishna every time. Yudhishthir, he was also very surrendered to Krishna. Any problem, Krishna would always be with him. These people, these 5 Pandavas, they had this complete knowledge that Krishna is everything. Therefore, Krishna always gives protection to his devotees, and hence, because of this, they always remain peaceful. So only a devotee has this privilege, and the real peace formula for the world is to understand Bhoktaram Yajnatapasam. He is the ultimate enjoyer of all sacrifices. He is the controller of all. He is Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. He is a friend of all beings. Sukhritam Sarva Bhutanam. And because of all this, he also understands that he is actually the knower of everyone and the well-wisher of everyone. Okay? So did you understand the peace formula?
Yes,
Any
Mataji.
questions? Very good, good. Any questions? Okay, let's then take turns and recite the verses. You can start. Who wants to start?
Hare Krishna Mataji. I'll do it.
Yes, go ahead.
Bhoktaram Yagnatapasam Sarvaloke Maheshwaram Sardam Sarvabhutanam Nyatva Mam Santam Rechati.
Very nice.
Mataji, Krishna Chaitanya.
Yes, Krishna Chaitanya.
Muktaram yagna tapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram suhridam sarvabhutanam gnatva mam shanti marchati.
Very good. Thank you.
Tapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Suhridam Sarvabhutanam Gnatva Mam Santam. How do you say it?
Shanti, Shanti.
Santi Rachati.
Richati.
Ruchati.
Very good, Ashutosh.
Now tell your name.
Yes.
Bhoktaram.
Yes, Vrinda.
You tell.
Bhaktiram Sarvalokamayeshwaram Suridam Sarvabhutanam Natmanam Nandivachati. Wait, let Mataji say that.
ఇప్పుడు చెప్పాలి.
Can I recite this verse?
Can I recite the verse, Mataji, again?
Yes, go ahead.
నువ్వు చెప్పు.
Bhaktiram Sarvalokamayeshwaram Suridam Sarvabhutanam Natmanam Nandivachati.
Very nice. Thank you, Vrinda. Yes, please go ahead.
Suhridam sarvabhutanam yatva mam shantim ricchati.
Oh, very good, Aditya. Nice to hear your voice. Where is Varun?
Sorry, Mataji, Varun is not here.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for joining. Who else is there? Nima, you want to go? Okay. And Anmol?
Hare Krishna Mataji, can I say?
Yes.
Bhaktaram yagnatapasam sarvalokamaheswaram Suridam sarvabhutanam yantva mam santim rachati.
Very good. Nice. Very nice. Anyone else? Okay. Then if we are done, we can end the call. Thank you all so much again for joining. And yes.
Mataji for Bhagavad Gita class.
Thank you. So we'll end the call then. Did anyone else want to say anything? Or are we good? Okay. Then we can end the call. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, श्रीमद् भगवद गीता की जय. All glories to all the kids. Hare Krishna. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय.